Okay, we're live. Good evening, folks. This is Rusty here, and I'm with the Stunt Hangar video hangout from Stunt Hangar Control Line forums. Welcome to everybody that wants to talk aeromodeling. Hope we get some visitors. It looks like we got a couple of people already on YouTube watching and waiting. Hopefully, y'all can join in. And I'd like to get some video guests in here for a good conversation tonight. We seem to be a little bit slim lately, but there have been a lot of contests going on all over the place. And so everybody's busy actually doing the stuff we just sit here and talk about. So doing it's always better than talking about it. And I'm glad everybody's able to do that. I know we had Huntersville here, we had the Golden State Stunt Championships out in California, and several others, all going on at about the same time. So attention was divided between all of those contests, and it affected not only who showed up at the contest, but it affected who showed up here with us too. But for those of you that want to come in and join us, you can come into the Stunt Hangar YouTube homepage. It's the stunthangar.com sponsors it. And if you go to that page, you can watch us on YouTube. And we also have a live chat box if you're here while we're actually on the air. In that chat box, you can type questions and answers and opinions, and I'll try to incorporate them into our conversations with the video guests. And if you're so inclined, if you click that block $sign at the bottom of the chat box, that is the way to donate a couple of nickels to the stunt hanger, uh, and to Sparky, who owns all of this and allows him to pay server fees and to be able to broadcast this show and keep it free, and to broadcast live from all of the events that he goes to, and building threads in his shop where he shows us how he builds airplanes. And so there's a lot to be gained from that. To get into the live video side, you have to be a member of the Stunt Hangar Control Line forums and logged into the stunthangar.com. And then you can go to the At the Bench thread, which is on the main forums page. If you see the open forum at the top, you can scroll down and read all the titles as they go by, and you'll see one called At the Bench. The links to get in here live with your microphone and camera is the newest one in the At the Bench thread every night that we do a show. That's Mondays and Fridays at 9:40 p.m. or thereabouts. And we hang out till about midnight or so whenever the diehards run out of breath. And so that's what I'm aiming to do tonight. I hope everybody had a good week. I hope somebody did something fun you can come in here and talk to us about. And the links are all up, like I said, in the At the Bench thread or on the Stunt Hangar YouTube channel. So, and if you want to watch these in reruns, which I think 99% of our audience does, I've got them all organized on my own YouTube channel, which is Rusty K. And if you type Control Line in after that, I'll be near the top of the list for my home page on YouTube. And the playlist with all of these videos is near the top of the stack on my front page. And speaking of that, that playlist now has all of our shows in it. And this is the 196th show. So our show number 200 will be coming up in just over 2 weeks now. So might have to try to find something special to talk about or highlight on that show. But thank y'all for supporting me for all of this time. Been a lot of ups and downs, especially with me and my health. But glad to be here now. And so let's get on with show number 196. Nobody has logged into YouTube yet, but I can look over here and see if anybody's watching. Yeah, we got 7 watchers and already got 2 likes. So I appreciate you likers and appreciate you watchers. If anybody wants to type in the chat box, feel free. And I'll be here to answer your questions or tell everybody who's watching what you want to say. Got me a cup of Go Juice here, brain fuel, otherwise known as Folgers Black Silk Coffee. Good stuff. And I got a buddy, flying buddy, coming to visit tomorrow. Jim Mines. Oh, hey, Gary Sinclair just showed up in YouTube. He says, "Hey, Rusty, looking good. Thanks, Gary. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm still getting slowly back in action, but more and more every day. So we're good. I hope we can get a good crowd in here tonight." Um, anyway, Jim Mines, he lives in Florida. He's a control liner down there. I first met him at Triple Tree in 2015 at the first Joe Knoll Stunt Contest, which is the contest that we have on the last weekend of the Joe Knoll fly-in. And we close down the control line circles and have a stunt contest. And I met Jim there and have since seen him. I've seen him at Huntersville too. I think I've seen him at Triple Tree Huntersville, and he comes through Columbia occasionally and always hits me with a message on the way through. And he camps nearby at Fort Jackson and let me know that he's here this week and a weekend. And so I invited him to come over and hang out under the maple tree with us tomorrow. And so I'll give him the nickel tour of the shop. Now, heck, we got somebody we don't want in the chat box there. We'll take care of that momentarily. And so we're going to hang around outside and I'll give him the nickel tour of the shop and see if I can get him to help me pump up my air tank and a few things I need to do out there that have nothing better to do than sit around here and think up things to do. So yeah, maybe Jim will help me get my tanks pumped up and fix I got to pump up the tire on my aircraft carrier, Big Red. Poor old Big Red's been sitting in the backyard forever now. I hadn't driven it since July, but about ready to get started doing that again. Cut me loose, set me free. I'm going to get to drive my aircraft carrier again soon. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. Well, let's see what else we got to talk about. There was a thread on Stunt Hangar that Charles Carter started, and I'm kind of saving it to see if Charles comes in. Everybody can talk about it, but he was congratulating Dennis Nunez, who is also one of our frequent guests here on the show, and the Golden State Stunt Championships out in California, of course. That's why they call it the Golden State. And he won. Hey, JP. JP's in the YouTube. What up, Russ? Not much. Just doing a show, man. Hope you can hang with us tonight. But anyway, he was talking about, gosh, I'm losing my train of thought here. Speaking of losing my train of thought, let's see who's texting me. Okay, it's another picture. It's a grandchild's picture. And my Stunt Hangar chat notification. Looks like those notifications are going out to everybody that subscribes to Stunt Hangar. Now I've totally lost my train of thought. That's why I need guests in here. Please, somebody help me. The Golden State Stunt. Oh yeah, yes. Charles was congratulating Dennis Nunez on the winning of Advanced, and everybody's shouting boot, boot, time to go to Expert. And a big discussion started on the way the classes work now. We've got beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert, and lots of people in expert, a few people in advanced, enough to make a good crowd, but hardly anybody in intermediate and beginner. And so the discussion goes on about getting more people in the lower classes. Maybe some people are stepping up because they feel pushed into it, or because for whatever reason and they're stepping up into the upper classes when they actually belong in the lower classes. And I know when I was flying intermediate, my goal was to belong in advanced, not just to go to advanced because I won intermediate, but to belong in it. That makes a big difference. And Don Jenkins wrote a good reply, and I'll save that. I'll save all that for later in the show when we got somebody here to talk to about it. But yeah, that's one of the things on the agenda tonight. And there was another thread that's sort of related to that on Stunt Hangar. I might throw that in too. But in Charles's thread, I think Brett Buck posted, Don Jenkins posted, and several other notable flyers posted, notable both on the club level and on the Nats level. And let's see, Mike has showed up in YouTube. Hi there, Rusty. I was reading the other day that when competing, if you whip your lines after the engine stops, you would be disqualified. Also, does it matter how you hold the handle? I hope it doesn't matter how I hold the handle, because I was taught by my dad at age 12 or so to hold it backwards from how the instructions in the Cox box said to hold it. So I've been holding the handle wrong ever since. And instead of up, down like everybody else does, I go up, down, which would translate, if I rotated my fist, to up, down, up, down. It works for me. I've had people tell me that's a good way to crash, but well, it might be because I have crashed, but I don't think it was because of the way I was holding my handle. It was because of the way the plane was getting ahead of my brain. And so, no, Mike, it does not matter how you hold the handle. And as far as whipping goes, sometimes you've got to whip it. For instance, I was watching Sparky. In fact, I got him on, I got a video of him that I took at Triple Tree when he was flying in the expert circle in a contest. And he runs out of gas at the top of the Clover, or as I recall, somewhere thereabouts. It was in 2017. I only remember that because that was the last contest I flew in up there. So the rule is you got to do 2 laps after every stunt prior to the next. Well, after the cloverleaf, you've got 2 laps to complete before you can attempt your landing. And that's just to give the judges some time to write the score down, look down, write the score down, and look back up and not miss anything. So Sparky comes over, burp at the top. Well, he's got enough inertia where he brings it on down, snaps it out, probably a little higher than he wanted to. And then he had to whip it in order to get it to go around the full 2 laps to qualify for a scored landing and to not lose his pattern points. And as he was coming down, he was hollering, "Is it 2 yet? Is it 2 yet?" When he hit 2, I wanted to holler, "Yes, Sparky, it's 2," but the judges hadn't said anything. And finally, I think it was Bob Zambelli and Dave Wenzel out there. I think Bob hit a holler, "Yeah, it's 2," and so Sparky glided on in and landed it and got a fairly. I mean, he scored over. He got better than the low 500s on his score. So yeah, that is okay to whip the plane. There are some, I guess, in speed, you're not, if you're flying speed, you're not allowed to whip the plane at certain times. But you're looking at the wrong guy if you want speed rules, because I just don't know. But if anybody else knows any other rules about whipping the plane, which means forcing it along by, whipping the lines. It's just what it sounds like. But if you have to do it in control line, you got to do it. Sometimes you got to do it. And so, yeah, let me know if you know more about the question that Mike asked. Can you whip the lines after the engine stops? You will not, in stunt or precision aerobatics, you will not be disqualified if you whip the plane. However, you get scored on a beautiful, steady descent that doesn't change the speed of descent, or change the altitude as you're coming down, and then touch down and roll out without hitting the ground hard. And so anything that you do, like whipping it, is going to adversely affect what the plane does in the air on your glide slope, and you will lose points. Every stunt is worth 40 points, and they're all yours to lose by doing stuff like that. So if you got to whip it to save the plane or to save the pattern points, like Sparky did, then you got to whip it. But if you don't have to, then don't. And let's see, JP says, been a while, good to see you. Looking good. Thanks, JP. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm looking good. I think my color looks better on the computer too. So I actually look better on the computer than I do in the mirror. So I guess that's good for y'all. And let's see, Mike Gill says, I guess that's his last name. Mike says, I taught myself, and I hold the handle flat, horizontal, and up is towards me. And when I go inverted, I roll my hand. Okay, so, and up is towards me. Yeah, okay, that's how everybody else does it, except you hold yours like this. Okay, so Mike says he taught himself, and he holds the handle flat and horizontal. Up is towards me. That's good. You can use your elbow for that. And when I go inverted, I roll my hand over so that it's still towards me. Not sure I quite get that, but yeah, whatever works for you is fine. And if you had no proper training, as is my case, then there's no telling how you might hold that handle. But you can fly it any way you want. The main thing is to point your arm pretty straight at the plane and follow the plane as you go through the stunts. Don't just sit here. And with half A, I've been tempted to sit here with my hand down. I can't hold it as low as I'm meaning, but even from the waist, I've just I've flown like this with half A, but that is not the way to fly precision shaped loops and squares and all the triangles and all the other things that go with a scored precision aerobatics flight. So I hope we can talk about some precision aerobatics in here. Combat's really interesting. If we get a conversation going on combat, that's good. Engines, but we hadn't talked about stunts and flying precision aerobatics in a long time. So yeah, maybe if some of our competitors come in here, we can talk about it, or sport flyers. I think I'm probably relegated to be mostly a sport flyer from here on out. I got some trophies, all those back there, but I would like to have some flights in advanced, and to be able to say I flew advanced precision aerobatics. But for all of you that are ambivalent about entering a contest, and I know some of you are. Hey, Steve Hines, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. How's it going?
Pretty good. I'm just running my math. Let me wrap it up a minute, and I'll be with you. For those of you who are a little ambivalent about joining a contest, because I had a friend that said, I'll just fly here at the field. I don't want everybody out there laughing at me. But nobody does that. And the thing about it is probably when you practice or sport fly, more people see you fly than actually see you fly at contests, because nobody pays attention to who's flying except for just a scattering of people. Everybody else is busy flying or getting ready to fly or bitching about how badly they flew or putting their planes back together. So, and nobody thinks about what you're doing out on field. And it is so much fun. And the best thing about it is when you get through, whether you win or lose, come in last or not, you can always, for the rest of your life, say, I flew competitive control line precision aerobatics, and nobody can ever take that away from you. And hey, that's a cool thing to be able to say. And You don't have to tell them your mom's the only one that thinks you're the best pilot in the world. But so what do you think about that, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, most of the times people say, "Do you see so and so's flight?" Say, "No, I didn't see that one." And you almost have to
Yeah.
make it.
Nobody ever sees the really cool shit I do.
I mean, you almost have to make an appointment in your time at the contest to watch flights you want to watch.
You do, yeah.
So
Let's see. Mike says I was mainly addressing Mike because he was asking me about holding the handle and whether it's legal to whip the lines after your engine shuts off. And I was telling him, yeah, because like when Sparky's plane burped out at Triple Tree at the top of the cloverleaf, and he brought it down, and he had to whip it and then holler at the judges, "Is it 2 laps yet? Is it 2 laps?" And finally, I think Zambelli hollered, "That's 2." And so Sparky went ahead and glided the plane in, and there's no disqualification for whipping. And speaking of Sparky, he just showed up while I was talking about him. Hey, we got Mike Simmons out here. Good evening, fellas. I'm a newbie here, wanting to get into the sport. What's the recommended first plane or engine size? Okay, well, we'll address that. Hang on, let me rearrange y'all's pictures so that we're big when we're talking. Okay, there we go. Hey, Sparky, how you doing tonight?
hey, man.
What story were you talking about?
Well, we had a question from a YouTuber that wanted to know if it's legal to whip the lines after your engine shuts off. And I told him, as a matter of fact, yeah, and gave him the example of when I was watching you fly at Triple Tree and you burped out in the top of the hourglass, cloverleaf, but you had to whip it in order to get your 2 laps to get a scored landing in the pattern points. And that was an example. So,
That's too much for an old man.
yeah, you remember that, though. You're not old enough to forget that, are you?
No, I remember it.
I got that on video somewhere. I don't know if I ever put it on the tube or not.
So, Sparky, what did you think about how your airplane flew before the catastrophic? Were you impressed with?
Yeah, I'm going to build another one. Only I'm going to build it lighter.
Even lighter, huh?
Yeah, no foam wing. I'll build a built-up wing, and yeah, I'm going to build another one.
What went wrong, Sparky?
I believe that the T-nut backed out and the push rod come off the elevator, and see, I did inside of the square, and I was up here at the top I was doing figure eights, square eights, and I turned the first corner and it turned, and I started turning the second corner, and it just went right straight in.
Wow. Yeah, that's the most stressful stunt in the whole routine too, I think. 17 turns hammered.
A screw come out of the ball link? Is that what happened to the horn?
Yeah, there's a T-nut. There was a T-nut on the adjustable horn, and when I got over to do post-mortem on the crash, the push rod was off the elevator horn, and I was going like that to try to, I just went straight there. Nothing I could do.
Jesus. Yeah, I forget. There was a couple of them where that T-nut came out of them horns, and I inspected Samantha's airplane. That some bitch was wide. Luckily, it didn't come out. Squeezed it back together and then put a washer on that. So it was the ball. What happened is that the ball link was going to that split in that, and actually spreading that thing apart. And I had to put a washer. Somebody said put a washer there on the other side of the ball link to that T-nut. It's not that the T-nut comes out, it's that the ball link spreads it and lets that T-nut come through there then.
I was due for a crash. I haven't crashed in about 10 years. I'm glad it was that profile and not one of my good airplanes.
Yeah, that was awful. I hated to hear you crashed it.
That might have been one of your good airplanes though.
Yeah, well, I'll make another one.
Let me address some YouTubers out here. We've got several people talking about getting into the sport, and Mike Simmons is a newbie and wants to know what a good first plane is. And somebody suggested maybe a profile half A kit, but half A's are harder to fly than any other kind of plane. If you want,
has he ever flew at all?
I don't know, Mike. Type in if you've got any experience flying at all, because a bigger plane with a 35 or 25 size engine and a bigger, 36 or more inch wingspan is much, much easier to fly. And you'll come home from the field, hopefully, with an entire plane intact. But anyway, that's the best answer I got for that. And let's see. And they're talking about how to hold, different ways to hold the handle. But yeah, I follow the plane with my arm. I don't necessarily bend my elbow a lot, but I do draw like I'm drawing on a chalkboard when I'm flying loops. So yeah, when you're doing a wing over, you've got to have your hand up over your head like that. So anyway, that addresses the YouTubers. We got Mike Simmons, Mike Gill, JP, and Jack Snavely. Hey, everybody. Thanks y'all for coming in.
Mike Gill asked if I crashed my Tom Dixon Ringmaster. No, I just haven't got it built yet.
I was going to say, if that guy has never flown before, I like the flight streak that Brodak has with the slab of wing. And if it breaks, you can just you can glue it back. You can glue the fuselage back together, the wing back on.
The Flight Streak Trainer. What's the wingspan on it? Is it like a 36 or so?
No, I think it's for a 15 or 20, 25, something like that.
That would be a lot easier than a half A still.
Yeah, I mean, when Samantha was first flying, a person had one of them, and she flew it, and it flew well.
To all you people that are just learning, I know that all us guys pretty much started on half A back in the day, but they are the most frustrating, maddening little machines to work with, and something a little bigger would be much easier and much more satisfying and leave you less inclined to slam it all in a trash can and storm home. So
Ringmaster is a good one to start on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
This is the Ringmaster regular, and this is the Ringmaster 576.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Are they both Dixons?
No, this is the S1 Ringmaster, and this is the Dixon Ringmaster.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that the little Brodak ARF Ringmaster flies real well with a 25 Brodak or whatever FP or something you can get.
I don't know how the kits are outfitted with the elevator horn and all, but I know the old Ringmasters used to have a deflection of way up, 45 degrees up and 45 degrees down. I think you could do without that much deflection. Of course, I mean, you got it if you needed it in an emergency, but make sure you don't have too wide of a handle on your plane.
Well, the Ringmaster I'm building, the 576, has flaps, so
it ain't that's a pretty big wing, 576 square inches.
Yeah, here's the, I don't know. I gotta get my picture. I can't see myself.
Way back, step back by the wall.
Well, can you see what I had to do for the elevator? I added that.
You extended the horn, the control horn.
Yeah. So this is the ARF, and you have to put they send you the little deal you glue in, and it needs to be about that much longer. And you might even be able to go a little longer than that even.
You want a little bit for emergencies, but too much will stall the blow the air right off the tail and stall it.
Yeah, Ringmaster's got a barn door for an elevator.
Yeah, it does.
And that's what John Paris did on that one he had, and it flew better. So I just got a control horn that only had the screw down thing on one side and mounted it to the old one, and it works for a while. It slowed it down. Because otherwise you got to be into the closest hole on your bell crank to slow down how much that elevator moves.
Yeah. Or the farthest. Oh, on the bell crank. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like putting it in the closest hole either.
You can fly combat with a ringmaster. I mean,
yeah. I got a picture of 2 ringmasters in a midair that were flying combat. Pretty spectacular picture.
Yeah, I had the problem.
I had a Yuki, if you remember that plane. It's just a pine stick with a wing and a tail on it, and I put one of those RC control horns on it. It's nothing but a piece of 440 threaded rod that the ball link screws onto, and you can raise it way up or way down to get whatever kind of elevator deflection you want.
So, Sparky, did you get the big ringmaster there to take that 60?
No, I sent Jamie Holford some money for a 46 LA 46.
Oh, okay.
I could make the engine fit, but I wouldn't have a fuel tank. There's not enough room there.
Oh, yeah.
We got Skukulek and Jeff Riley out there with us now on YouTube.
I was just comparing these 2 rings. They really are close. It's like they took the drawing from this and just blew it up. The outlines are. I mean, it's.
Yeah, they look just alike. Is there any rudder offset built into that or designed into it, straight up and down?
I don't know whether it's it or not, but I offset it. You can see it right there.
Yeah. That's falling out of favor on the forums these days, but most of mine are offset just a little bit.
Motor offset, rudder offset. Those are your friends.
I always do motor offset. Do you put any down thrust in your motors or just right outboard thrust?
No, why would you do that?
I don't know. I've seen people suggest it, but I think that's just trim issues and covering up a problem, probably more than fixing a problem.
Yeah, I don't do that kind of nonsense stuff.
The plane becomes more sluggish with down thrust.
Well, that was a big thing in RC, and the reason why they did that is that so the damn thing didn't have all the P factor when you took off. When new pilots, they pull up, the damn things pull left, and you got to put right rudder in them. Maybe a little bit of down thrust, and a little bit of right thrust in the damn things, they'll take off. But we did that for people learning how to fly. But then once you go inverted, you try to do something now, it's the wrong way, and it makes that all screwed up.
Oh, yeah.
But they're just looking for takeoff and landings to make it a little easier for.
Down thrust gives you uplift, and if you turn it upside down, if you flying inverted, it would be going down like that.
Yeah, so you got to add a lot of damn down stick or whatever to keep the nose up, and it's just done for when the people are first learning. But
that's all too complicated for me. I'm just a simple control line. I do what I can feel in my hand.
The reason I got this Ringmaster is about 12 years ago, I flew D. Rice's down in Memphis, and it was a good flying airplane. And of course, Joe Gilbert wins all the time with a stupid thing, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I've heard Joe Gilbert can pick anybody's plane up and fly a winning pattern with it. So.
It's a good flying airplane. Dick bought one at Brodak and put it together. and he had he put a Rojet 51 on their side exhaust, and then he tried the 47 or the 46 OS, or whatever it is, and he's had a stalker on there. It's just a really good flying airplane.
Well, I don't know. I think it'll be fine. It won't fly like my other airplane, but it'll be fine for profile. That way, when they have Brotherhood of the Ring crap, I can put up a Ringmaster flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only Ringmaster I got's got a wingspan about that wide, about 8 inches wide, I think. Might be 10, I don't remember, but it's a little tiny thing.
With a 10
micro. It's got an 010 on it. A TD 010.
Yeah, see, we try every year we didn't have a 049 this year. John flew his 049, but we try to do all the sizes, the 60 size, the 35 size, a 25. They make different sizes, and we try to do that every year. Electric, just to have all the different ones. But
I'm gonna do a little plug for Tom Dixon. Anybody looking for a kit that's easy to build, that would be this one here. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 piece parts in it. That's all it is to put the stupid thing together. Or I'm going to build this airplane tomorrow. It'll all be together tomorrow. I'll do it on video.
Yeah.
I did this because this was the epoxy. I had to let the epoxy dry here. That I took the bell crank out of the one I crashed and cut the push rod. I'm going to use it in this and the wingtip weight box, which it doesn't come with any hardware or any adjustable lead out equipment or wingtip weight box. It's kind of a short kit, but it's, the wing sheeted for you. It's can't hardly beat it. And it's $150, cheap.
Yeah, he makes a couple. I'm trying to think. Dick has a couple of his. I know what it is. He makes a profile nobler. I mean, not a profile vector. And that's what Pat won. His nephew. That's what Pat won intermediate with this year at the Nats. Was a Dixon profile vector, and it's the same amount of parts.
Yeah. I'm going to finish this one different too. I'm going to use the Z-Epoxy, smear Z-Epoxy over the whole thing. And then I'm going to take it to work and spray it in the spray booth with base coat, clear coat. See how much that paint job weighs.
Oh, okay.
You going to put any kind of fiberglass or tissue on it, on the fuselage? Just Z-Epoxy?
Z-Epoxy, wipe it off, sand it, prime it, shoot it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he recommends. That's what Dick did. And I mean, the damn fuselage hasn't cracked or.
Well, the instructions say to cover this thing with fiberglass, but I don't want to cover the damn thing with fiberglass.
Yeah.
It'd be a million pounds.
Yeah, he just did his like that with Z-Epoxy, or I think it was the Bob Smith stuff, but then he just rattle cans it. I mean, they come out really nice and they fly great. They really do. Everything's straight on them.
John Skukelek's asking Sparky if you're going to finish the Tucker special.
Yeah, but I'm going to wait till I get over to John's. It's still sitting over there.
Oh, hey, Ryan.
Hey.
Hey, man. Did you get my text to you today?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah, I had to get them out to everybody and give them my phone number.
Uh-huh. Sparky, what the heck did you do?
I crashed my profile at Huntersville.
I heard of that. How did you manage to do that?
Mechanical error, idiot. Bad mechanic. The screw came loose on the elevator.
What?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. No Loctite?
No. I should have had a jam nut on it.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
It's amazing how a 3 cents piece kills something.
Not even 3 cents, probably a half a cent. You get
Yeah.
100 for $5 or whatever.
Mm.
Yeah, it's terrible. But
Sorry, man.
that's the way it goes. I haven't had a crash in 10 years, so better that airplane than one of my good ones.
Hey, you are overdue then.
Yeah.
You dodged the bullet for too long.
Actually, it's been longer than that. It was 07 when I crashed.
That was some kind of a failure too, wasn't it?
No, yeah, run out of gas.
Oh.
Four-leaf clover.
Too much air in the tank.
Yeah, it pulled it up like this, and the
Bunch of
gas right there, and I went right over the top, the other side. Bam! That was my thunderbolt.
You thundered it, all right.
And then I had a 6-hour ride home with a broken airplane in the back. That's where I cut the tail off and glued it to the plaque and mounted to the wall.
Yeah, that's what happened to John Paris with that Legacy 60. We messed with it. We got it flying really good and everything, and the judge had to go to the bathroom or whatever, so he left, and we sat there and he had his handle out, and we're waiting, and fuel actually siphoned out of the tank while it was sitting there, and because he went with a 1/4 ounce more than what we were normally using, and had to siphon out, took off, did the same thing right in the damn clover, went up, said started doing a tail slide back down.
Oh,
And you know what LA-46 uses for fuel? How much fuel it takes?
About 4 ounces, maybe 4 and a half.
about 4 1/4.
So that's going to be tough to do when I got a 4-ounce tank. I don't know how you get a 1/4 ounce, 4 1/4 in a 4-ounce tank.
Now,
I've got the same problem with my twister. It's got that cutout where the tank's embedded into it, and there's no room for a 1/4 ounce bigger tank, but that's what it needs.
you're gonna go with a metal tank or plastic?
Conch tank, plastic.
That's my favorite tank for a profile.
I can see if Dick has any of the metric tanks, and they're actually like 4 1/3 ounces or whatever, and that'll be fine.
That'd be even better.
It works out in cc's.
It can't be. We're real tight on area here.
Yeah, I'll find out what one he has on his. He's got one just like it. He flew it last Saturday. We went out and flown it.
With an LA-46 one?
Actually, he had the Rojet 51 on there.
Yeah, it's got 4 inches from the leading edge to the back cutout. So that's 4-ounce tank. Either that or I have to have my friend John make me a tank.
Yeah, I'll find out from Dick. I know that it's so many cc's and it's bigger than 4 ounces, and it'll work fine. But some of the LA's, the one that we had on a Vector, only used a little over 3 1/4 ounces for the flight.
Here's a Sullivan 4-ounce tank, and that Sullivan 4-ounce would work.
Yeah.
That's a perfect tank for a Nobler with the FP35 on it. I know that.
Yeah, so I'll find out. I can't remember what the cc is, if it's a 50 cc or 500 cc.
Probably it's probably let's see,
32. Well, you're about 30 to the average.
120 cc's.
Yeah.
506 cc is about a 6. It's a 5-liter motor.
Yeah, that's a big tank. It'd be about 100, about 120 cc's, something like that.
I'm building a half-A Spitfire here.
Yeah, there you go. That's a hell of an elevator, isn't it?
It is. That ought to move some air.
Yeah, it's a big one. This should go together in a weekend, no problem. I mean, I consider this an art, you know. I could monocoat it. I got several rolls over here.
No, I don't do that.
Why not? It's just, I mean,
Because, I don't know.
What Nick did is he just took and monocoated the wing, painted the fuselage, put it together, and then cut out some cool graphics on his that vinyl cutter like you got. Put them on. It looks nice. It flies great. And for, you know, something you're just taking out and having fun with, or just doing for profile contests. I mean, they give you no appearance points or anything else. You just got to be sealed up, and it really does save a lot of weight. That monocoat on the wing, and it's a full sheeted full wing, so the thing is way strong enough.
yeah.
Yeah, like a bat.
Yeah. And his looks really nice. I mean, he put together some, you know, different combinations of colors or whatever, and then the graphics put on whatever he wants. But yeah, I mean, the wing is way strong enough for monocoat. There's no doubt about that. Once you fiberglass the center section, and
I just noticed he didn't get it quite sanded right. Oh well. Can't expect everything for $150. He used Gorilla Glue to glue the sheeting on.
yeah, they say that's a lot lighter than
You'd never. This is heavy.
is heavy.
I think it is. Let's see what it weighs.
The Tom Morris method with tight bind is to make it like, use glue like rivets and dot, you know, evenly spaced dots all the way down the.
You got to have a lot of patience. I tried that method, and I'm like, this really sucks. Had a little damn syringe.
Yeah. Yeah, one of those little monoject syringes would
Yeah, I miss it and stuff like that. And by the time I finally got them done, half of them were almost dry, and it's like, shit. You got to be fast and accurate when you're doing that.
If you thin it a little bit with water, then it doesn't dry so fast. It will soak in.
That wing panel weighs 5.5 ounces, just one panel. So it'll be an 11-ounce wing without the bell crank.
Okay.
My Tucker Special wing weighed 5 ounces for the whole thing.
Are they about the same size?
Tucker Special wing's bigger.
Oh.
It's bigger. It's a bigger wing for one half. That's one half. That's not the whole wing. That's one half weighs 5.5 ounces. My whole wing weighs 5 ounces. I think with the flaps and everything on it, I think it's 8 ounces. So. But I sure love my pilot. I love that pilot.
Now, does he carve with a chisel and stuff like that, or does he use like a Dremel to carve?
Beats me. I don't know.
Wasn't somebody saying the other night, Tommy Looper's an expert pilot carver?
Yeah, this is a Tommy Looper pilot right here.
Oh, let me click on you. Hang on, I'm clicking on you now.
It weighs 3 grams.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool looking dude there.
I like that.
He carved me. He took a Williams Brothers pilot and carved Clark Gable's face on it.
Oh, that's even cooler.
There's this one.
Yeah, that's Clark. All right. Damn, that's a spitting image.
That's pretty talented.
I don't believe it could be done better than that. That's a good rendition of Clark.
I'm going to see if I can find a little red piece of like a ribbon or something to make a scarf on this guy.
I've only got one pilot, but he's been from plane to plane to plane as I wreck him and save him. I found him on the grass out at Fort Jackson one day, picked it up and put it in my pocket and carried it around in my toolbox for a while, and then finally built an Oriental Arc and put him in the Oriental. And he looked cool. He was a jet fighter with a mask and a hose and goggles on or a face mask on. Awesome looking pilot.
Well, it sounds like he wasn't a very good pilot. If you keep
Yeah,
he
crashed
so that's probably why he was left at the field.
Yeah, he kept. Yeah, this probably is. He kept turning into crosswinds at the top of overhead eights and stuff like that, landing nearly at my feet, or where my feet were before I started running backwards. If you turn too soon on a windy day at the top of an overhead eight, that's exactly what's going to happen, though. You just slap that sucker out of flight with a crosswind and the lines coil up at your feet. You better be able to run 60 feet real fast.
I went to Lowe's the other day. I needed a soldering iron. So Weller soldering irons used to be made of Bakelite, and they were black.
And they always had busted sides on them. Yeah, like mine.
They've just updated their soldering iron. This thing is, man, it's good.
Is it a dual heat?
Yep. Yep. This is a good one.
Mine's one of the old black ones, and it rattles and buzzes, but it still works. It gets hot as hell.
I just bought a new one. Mine's still black, and I got I don't know, Home Depot didn't have any or whatever. They were out of them. Must be they were changing over. But the only thing I don't like about the new ones is that they're double heat, but the first click is high and the second click is low.
That's backwards.
It's backwards to the old ones, and I hate that on the damn triggers.
This one's low first and high second. It's got 3 lights in it. One there, and one on the bottom.
Oh, cool.
3 LEDs, so it's really bright.
So they went back and put the trigger back the way it should be, low then high instead of high then low.
Yep.
Yeah, I hate that because you're trying to do a battery. I'm always shaky and stuff, and I click past the damn high and it goes to low, and then I'm wondering why it eats. I'm backing off and moving the gun, and
These are probably still made in the same place, China, California.
Oh, okay.
I was going to ask if it was made in China. I'm glad it's made in America.
No, China, California, not Chino.
China. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little slow.
I'll tell you
one thing about every Weller I've ever had is that before I use it, I have to take a 7/16 wrench and tighten the nuts that hold the tip in to the 2 electrodes that point out the front. Even if they don't feel like they move, it doesn't heat up. But I mean,
it has Allen wrenches.
Really?
And I'll tell you something about that is on the one Weller gun I had, which I don't know, maybe 5 years old or whatever, I dropped the damn thing and bent the tip.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and bought a new tip for it. Well, the new tip, the wires were bigger than the old ones. It wouldn't fit in there. So I took and sanded them down on the belt sander, made them fit, tightened it up, plugged it in, hit the trigger.
And don't get as hot.
It burnt up it burnt the damn thing up. There must have been less resistance or more resistance or whatever. The whole gun just went, smoke come out of it.
Yeah. Really?
And they said you got to use the right tip for the right soldering iron. But yeah, I smoked that, let the smoke out of it in a big hurry.
When I was a kid, my dad had a Weller that was a big old Weller. And I swear you could weld with it. It was soldered 1/4-inch sheet metal. It was a hot son of a gun. 243 something or other.
Mine's 240 325, but I had one years ago that was 425 on the top end. That was way too much for electronics.
Hey, Jared, what you been up to?
Hey, how's it going?
Man, I'm really disappointed that I wasn't there to see all of you guys at Huntersville. I saw pictures of you, though.
Yeah, we made it down there.
Yeah, I'm glad you came.
How was the weather on Sunday?
It really wasn't that bad. I was surprised you weren't there.
Well, it was drizzling in the morning at 7 o'clock, and we were eating at Waffle House, and Jerry said, "What do you think?" I said, "Man, it's windy and rainy, and it's terrible. Let's go." So we just left and we come back.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, when I got up at the hotel and I opened the door and looked outside at 7 in the morning, I shut the door and I said, I'll pretend I didn't see that. And because it was raining and the wind was howling, but then by 8 o'clock the rain was done and it was starting the wind was tapering off, and then by the time we got out to the field, and by 9 o'clock the wind wasn't really bad at all. You just had turbulence coming over the top of the trees, but I mean, it wasn't terrible. Everybody flew, made it through fine. I probably had the worst air. I got blown out of the hourglass maneuver, but everybody else made it through fine. So, but yeah, it actually ended up being a really nice day. And towards the end of the contest, by noon, 1 o'clock, blue sky was out and it was almost getting warm.
Did
I
you
didn't
guys come
try
too?
your propeller.
What's that?
I didn't get to try your propeller.
Yeah, and I didn't have the one I wanted. I had another 13.6 carbon fiber one I was going to have you try, but the copy, that Rev Up 13.6 copy, I left it at home anyway, so I'll have to bring it another time and try to get with you and let you try it.
Would you make up a mold and stuff for the Rev Up 13.6?
I bought one from Steve Wilk.
Oh, okay.
Minnesota. So for my plane, I couldn't quite get the lap times out of it, but my plane's a big, thick wing Strega, weighs 78 ounces. So pulling a 55-ounce plane like Sparky's would probably be fine.
You can always pitch up.
Well, that's what I did. I actually went to a 12.7 3-blade, and that's what I've been flying now the last year and a half. Actually, it's one of these right here is what I've been using now.
Got a Wilk propeller?
No, this is a guy from Poland, Thomas Yadkaz or something like that. I don't know how you pronounce it, but there's his logo. Pole prop. Only way I know how to get a hold of him is on Facebook. So
Yeah, I've seen him over there.
yeah, but I've had exceptional luck with the performance of his props.
They look pretty nice. I was wondering how nice they were, once you got them and stuff like that. But they look pretty nice.
Yeah, they're real nice. You can see the carbon fiber texture in it.
Yeah.
Inside here, I'm using for my PAs. I'm using the Bob McDonald APC 3-blade. They work good. That's what's on this plane and that plane.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that brown stiletto that I flew on Saturday, it's got a bull ring 46, a Super Tiger bull ring 46 in it. So it's Schnurley ported. It likes to run fast. It doesn't want to run like a 4.2 brake. So on that one, I went to a 12.5 3-bladed prop. So you can turn the RPMs, but you're also not picking up the speed because it's running a little bit lesser pitch prop. And that seems to be the perfect prop for that plane.
Oh, bull ring, man. That's a long time ago. Them were always good running motors.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of power. I'll give it that. But you got to run it a touch, not lean, but it wants to run on a solid 2 cycle. If you try to slow it down, it'll burp on you, kind of like a Fox 35 does on the outside maneuvers. So it just likes to turn more RPM. I'm turning like 9,100 RPM on the ground before launch.
Big power, but also has big weight.
Yeah, it's heavier than a standard 46, but yeah, it got a ton more power too. So, and that stiletto that I was flying Saturday is the original stiletto kit, but blown up about 10% bigger.
Is that the blue one?
No, the brown one that I flew.
Oh,
My,
your dad's 980 or whatever the hell it is. Or what is it?
yeah, my dad's is a Stiletto 770 high aspect ratio, so it's really not a stiletto anymore. You know, he added a couple of ribs to each wing to increase the overall length and then lengthened it out to his own nose moment and tail moments. But the wing calculated out to 770 square inch.
Wow.
So and
Seven,
then
7 foot long.
almost. So,
Damn.
now when he originally built that plane, I think it weighed like 68 ounces, 69 ounces, something like that. And he piled it up in Topeka years and years ago on landing. A big gust of wind picked it up and then slammed it down, and it broke the fuselage and punched the gear up through the wings. So after he repaired it and then refinished it, and that's painted in Emerald, so the finish on it's heavy. But so after rebuilding it and refinishing it, it came out right about, I think, 78 ounces or something right around there. So, added 10 ounces with all the repairs, but it still flies really, really good. So, and 2 or 3 years ago, I think was the last time I was there with my dad, and we were still running the 14.6 Zinger props, the wood props. And what we didn't realize is that they had changed their blade design, and we had his plane all trimmed out. Well, you know how that track there, is like this, and it has a high spot and a low spot. Well, on one of the laps coming around, he skipped off the ground and it chipped the prop up. So we went and changed it to another prop, brand new out of the bag, but we didn't realize that it was a different blade design, even though it's still a Zinger 14.6. And his lap time slowed down to like 5.8 seconds per lap. And so it was way too slow. But so he didn't do too good that time 3 years ago. But since then, we've changed props entirely to these 3-bladed ones, and they work phenomenal. So his plane was flying good this time. Lap times were back up, like 5.1, something like that. So.
Are those props suitable for use on IC motors?
That's what we're using them on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Super Tiger 60.
Mm-hmm.
So now the guy makes electric props too, and he's even right now he just got done designing a contra rotating motor and prop design. So
I'm not sure if I'm buying that a whole lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know nothing about it because it's all electric, and I've never even really dived into the electric stuff. But
my problem with it is just, sounds way too heavy. They claim that the motors are small and they use only one battery and stuff like that, but I just don't see how is it possible to have validity, in what they're claiming.
It's 2 motors together. 2 separate motors.
That's why
Yeah,
it
but
seems
they're
like
small
it
guys and they are driving an 11, 12-inch prop on them. So a small motor with 12-inch prop, it draws a lot of current. On top of that, you have another motor on the same axle, which adds some friction and stuff like that between the two of them because they're spinning opposite directions. So there has some power loss over there too. Now you add another ESC and probably have a big battery, and it's like, I don't see, where's the benefit? That's my problem with it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Mike.
How you doing, fellas?
We good?
Hey, man.
I've been following along on YouTube there for a little bit, watching. Yeah, Sparky, you guys missed out, man. The weather ended up being actually pretty decent about halfway through the morning. There was a little wind, but it looked like crap. I poked my head out at 7 o'clock and I saw Jerry getting the trailer hooked up or whatever. I was like, I guess I'll see him at the field. And then you guys weren't there. I was like, yep, they bailed. Because it was sketchy there for the first hour or two, but afterwards it ended up being okay. It was
Well, our drive home is so long, it's 7 hours.
I understand.
7 hours. Try 19 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long way.
But you didn't make it one day, did you?
No, we stopped in Paducah and stayed overnight, and then drove the rest of the way Monday.
Oh hell,
Where are you coming out of?
you should have
What's
just
that?
freight trained with Charlie Reeves, Jared, and spent the night at Charlie's house. He lives right in Paducah, next to the field.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Charlie's like,
Where are you coming from, Jared? Minnesota?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that in Texas?
Omaha, Nebraska. Yeah, that's in Texas.
Yeah, North Texas.
I was glad to see Charlie in the pictures from Huntersville. It's been a while since he's been there. He's, he had some health problems, but he's been doing his Paducah contest.
I think that's the first time Charlie's been back since his heart issue. I think it's been maybe 2 years at least since Charlie.
Did Shara come with him?
Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah. His daughter and his wife were there. Yep.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always enjoy talking to them. Jim Mines is coming by. If any of y'all know him, he's coming by to visit tomorrow. They're camping about 5 miles from where I live out at Fort Jackson for the week. And they come up and camp there occasionally and usually check in with me. But this will be the first time he's come by, so I can give him the nickel tour of the shop and get him to help me pump up my air tanks and stuff. I need to get them topped off so I can do the tires on the cars. And I'm gradually getting back to doing things. So yeah, it'd be good to see him and mess around with him. I don't know if I think he's been to Huntersville. I know I first met him in 2015 at Triple Tree, and I've seen him several times since then, but I can't remember when and where. Do y'all know Jim from Florida? Jim Mines?
I think so.
Yeah.
Hey, Trillian, how many of those Evolutions planes of yours are out there?
2 right now.
So does Mark McKinney have one?
Yeah.
Okay. Because he showed up at St. Louis with what looked to be your Evolutions that you showed me the other month or two ago on here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, that must be like Trillian's plane. So yeah, so finally I got to see one in person. It's pretty slick looking plane.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Hey, we got a guy on YouTube named Mike Perry. He says, "Hello, guys. I've got an important question for you." Well, type your question, Mike, and let's see what we've got to say about it. Anybody know Mike Perry?
No,
Steve.
but we will.
Wake
Yeah, we
up,
will in a minute.
Steve. Wake
Yeah.
up.
Oh, I just got a notification for some tools, and I had to see if there's anything I just have to have.
You look like you were sleeping there, buddy.
So what's the question, Rusty?
I'm waiting for him to answer me. I was just about to type. Say your question, Mike.
Well, if he's like all us guys, he's probably pecking like this. Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
Chicken picking up corn, man. Or chicken in the
Takes
bread.
a while to get
Isn't that what it is?
When you type 3 words a minute, it could take a half an hour to get a paragraph out.
Right.
And I used to be able to blast through words on the keyboard, but not anymore. I only got a couple of typing fingers these days.
I really regret not taking typing in high school, but that was for girls. I should have took it.
I took it my
Yeah,
senior year.
I'm just a high-speed hunting backer, but that didn't sound right. But I'm pretty good at it.
Year 85 because it was an easy A, man. I just needed the credit to graduate, so I took it.
Yeah, I was never very fast
Anybody got
at
any
it.
cool stuff?
Anybody
Oh,
want?
here it is. Here's the question. At the bottom of my, wait a minute.
If the bottom of my wife's ass is really round,
Okay.
What do I do about
Hang on. Let me click on the three dots before I pose this question. And I'm ready now. Mike Perry asks, at the bottom of my garden lives a family of very nasty, vicious badgers. Is it okay to use a big stick to get rid of the badgers in self-defense? My girlfriend is a dwarf and I'm worried about her safety. Okay.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Bye. See you later.
Bye-bye. He's gone.
Adios, jackass.
That's not the first one I've banged out tonight.
Explain,
That-
man.
Anybody can come on YouTube.
Well, I got something to share anyway, if anybody's interested.
Okay.
You still got all
Yeah,
the paint
very
on that mini bike?
What's that?
So you still have all the paint on the mini bike?
Dude, the mini bike is kicking ass, man. It's done, man. It's completely
Yeah, I
done.
know it. I just wondered if the paint was still on it. If you try to go through corners and shit too fast and took all the paint off of one side or
Oh,
something.
the air cleaner and the muffler will protect the paint.
Yeah.
The air cleaner and the muffler. It's the carbs rejetted. It's got a new emulsifier tube in it. New street tire. 22-pound valve springs. This thing will freaking kill you, man. It does like 42 miles an hour now, man. It's wicked fast.
I bet
love
those valve springs perk it up.
Yeah.
How many horsepower is that?
It's just a 6.5 horse Honda clone is what they call it. Because it's Chinese.
Okay.
The Chinese motor, but they call it a Honda clone. It's the same thing as the Harbor Freight Predator 212, which is a common
Okay.
motor for big bikes and go-karts and shit. But anywho,
What kind of motors you got?
yeah, I knew Sparky'd be interested. So that's two of the Brian Gardner piston and liners and heads for the LA 46s. And I bought these, oh Christ, over a year ago, probably a year and a half ago. And then I made an order with RC Japan and got new cases, new cranks, bushings and prop washers, all the stuff I need to build two motors with two of the Brian Gardner piston and liners. I shouldn't say build, I should say assemble. So I'm getting ready to assemble two Brian Gardner LA 46s with his stuff and all brand new parts. And then I'm gonna put PA needles in them and socket head cap screws and all that good stuff. So
I wonder if he's got any more of those liners.
well, Sparky, I got in at the end when I didn't make an order, and I was following the thread, and he said, "Hey, I've got some left if anybody wants any." And I sent him a message, and I was like, "Okay, I'll just get two," So he had two. This is from this run. I think it could have even been 2 years ago. I don't know.
I'll email him. See if he's got one.
Yeah, I don't think it was 2018. I think it was actually 2017 when I bought those from him. And then shortly after, that's when I bought the cases and the cranks and all the other stuff from RC Japan. Because you know what, man? These cases are like 35 or 40 bucks from Tower. I paid less than $15 a piece for these cases from RC Japan. Brand new.
Yeah.
And the shipping wasn't crazy. And the cranks I think were maybe 24 bucks or something from Tower, and they're like $10 or $12 from RC Japan. So that's a good place to buy OS parts. They're running out of a lot of stuff. I just made another big order recently. I think I bought 10 piston and liners for 25s because we run those in combat, and I get those piston and liners for like 11 bucks a piece or something.
Yeah, I wanted.
Ventures, nozzles.
Has anybody heard of anyone flying that Brian Gardner 46? Because I know that he cut the cylinders like the that isn't a Thunder shit.
To
I
answer
can't
your
think.
question, Al Ferraro was running them, and some other guys were running. I actually called Al. I talked to him for about 30 minutes right before I went to put these things together, because I knew he was running them, and I had a question on on which head shim to run, because Brian sends head shims with the motor, and I want to say his are like 15 thousandths, between 14 and 15 thousandths, and a stock OS one is like 9 thousandths. And according to Brian's instructions, I mean, he sends you a nice sheet that tells you what to do, how to assemble it, and what to do as far as head shims. And he says just run one of his, and run at least 20% oil, more specifically 22% oil, and how to break it in. I mean, Sparky, you've got some of his piston aligners and other stuff you've used, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wondered how it ran, because that was the same angle grind in the cylinder as the Aero Tiger 36. Randy told him how to do the ports. So that's supposed to be like a big Aero Tiger 36. And that's why that came with a different head and all that kind of stuff. And I just never heard what people, anyone who run them. Because that's supposed to be a stunt, regular stunt motor now with that piston and cylinder.
Well, there's a head for him.
Yeah, he does a decent job. I had one of his cylinders in a Fox combat motor, and that thing really runs good.
What kind of glow plug does that head take?
I was told to run the SIG RC Long, the same one that Dixon recommends in his 46s, the RC Long with the idle bar on it. That's what was recommended. So
that's a good plug.
I'm gonna put PA needles in them. I've got stock OS needles, that I could just put in there without having to drill the case. But I was told by a couple guys that run them that the PA needle, finer adjustment, better deal. So I'm getting ready to violate 2 brand new 46 cases by drilling them out. I don't know how I feel about that, but these are going to be, supposedly really good stunt motors. So I might as well put a ram needle in them.
So do you got to go with a different Venturi then to make up for the closing off of the Venturi with a bigger needle?
The 280 is the one you got to run. Actually, what I was told is if you run an OS stock needle, because the spray bar part of it is so much thinner, you have to run the 250 Venturi if you use a regular OS needle, which is 250 Venturi is the one for the 25. So if you use an OS needle, you got to use a 250 Venturi. If you're running the 280 needle, the 280 Venturi, then you can use either Randy's needle or the double star that Tom Dixon sells, because those are both 155, I think. I don't know what.
Oh, I think he froze up.
Yeah, it looks like Mike froze up. Let me unclick him first.
Am I froze up?
Oh,
you're okay now.
Okay. I'm going to flip this back anyway.
Yeah, when you run one of them, Mike, let us know how, if it runs like one of the that something Tiger, Aero Tiger.
Well, I can run like a Tiger, but I heard they're pretty bitching, man, and they'll swing a hell of prop for sure. The 2 guys I did talk to that have done these conversions on the 46 are very happy with them. So I'm putting these together for myself. They're not for Sam, because he's still piling shit in the ground every once in a while. So These are for me. I need a good profile plane for next year. I got a couple of choices up there. I've got an Umlin Fancherized Twister kit, and then I got one of the Primary Force kits up there from Mikey Pratt.
Well,
I
if
think
you're going
I'm
to order from RC Japan, they can't ship to the United States.
I'm sorry.
I'm on RC Japan right now. I was going to order a crankcase and a crankshaft, but they can't ship to the United States for some reason.
Do you have an account with them?
It says, "We're sorry, we cannot ship to this address in Japan at this time." Whatever.
Do you have an account with them? You're signed up through them?
No, I was trying to register.
You gotta register first and make an account.
I was trying to sign up and register, and I put in that address, and it says, "We're sorry, we can't ship to this address."
Okay.
That's weird. Yeah, 'cause
What is it you want, Sparky?
A crankcase and a crankshaft.
For a 46?
LA-46.
All right. I mean, if you want one, I'll try to get on later tonight or tomorrow and get you one.
All right. Jamie Holford's supposed to be sending me a 46.
Yeah, I know that Dick just got his case and crank last week from them.
Yeah, I've never had any issue ordering from them. And I'll tell you what, man, for the stuff coming from Japan, like I paid as little as like $12 shipping for the stuff.
Yeah.
And it might take you 3 weeks to get it, but I've got it as fast as 10 days before. So
Don't try to order me one. I'll try to sign up again.
You want to?
Yeah, that's like ordering right from India. You can order something from India and have it in like 5 days. It's faster than ordering it from here in the United States.
Yeah, it's not bad, and it's half the price of what Tower sold it, or for what Shutterman sells it for on eBay.
Yeah.
You know, I was just buying stuff in bulk from RC Japan. I mean, I was ordering 10 Venturis, 10 needles, 10 piston and liners. You know, I was just getting as much as I could because it's so cheap. You know, especially the 25, the LA 25 stuff, because that's what Sam and I run in combat. You know, and we
Are they still out of needle valves, or did they get more in?
No, they're still out. But I mean, I bought a bunch a year ago. When Dick first turned me on to that, I got on there and I was like a kid in a candy shop, and I made a huge order, you know, and just bought a bunch of stuff all at once.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I got a couple of needle valves. I should have just bought a shitload of them, but I didn't think that.
Well,
guys, I'm getting tired. I'll see you later.
Take it easy, Sparky.
All right. See you later, Sparky.
See ya.
So I just took a note and typed in RC Japan. Is that at rcjapan.com?
I think so.
Okay.
So you have to create an account just like any other deal. You got to create an account so that you can log in and see their price list. And then once you do that, even when you
The
make
next
an
page
order,
will give you the amount for shipping.
you here's how it works. You got to create an account, make an order. You make an order and you'll get an email. It might not even be that day. It could be the next day. They'll email you back your order and tell you what they have in stock, what's back ordered, and what's the shipping going to be. And then you agree to that and they will process your order. You don't just go through a checkout after pick 10 things and pay and go. You got to wait to hear back from them. And then they'll tell you what they have, what's back ordered, shipping, and then you agree to it and send the payment. And you do it through PayPal, and they convert it from US dollars to yen. You know, it's not a quick thing. It's not just click and buy. It takes a day for them to email you back. but it's totally worth it. I'm telling you, you save like half of what OS parts are, almost half.
That sounds like a great resource. I'll have to take a look at it. If you say their stock is dwindling, I need to do it now though.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, because OS quit making cases and all that kind of stuff. So when it's all gone, it's all gone.
Right. But if you're looking for LA-25 or LA-40 or LA-46 parts, they have a bunch of stuff on there. Some's not available anymore. You know they're doing the LA-25 again now. It's called the LA-25-2. And you
Oh, I didn't know that.
motor. Oh yeah, it's $120, but you can buy it. You can buy it. You can buy it from RC Japan. $119, I think, is what they end up being.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And I think a couple other overseas distributors that are carrying that motor, and you don't have a choice of it being a control line motor. It's strictly an RC motor. It's got a new type of carburetor on it for RC application. It's some big honking thing. It's not the little thing that used to be on the LA-25, but they call it the LA-25-2, and it's in production again. So that and everything from that fits the original LA-25. The only thing I can see that's different is the carburetor, but that tells me if OS is making the LA-25-2, that RC Japan will have parts at least for that motor at some time in the foreseeable future.
Well,
you know? And
when I was at Toledo, they were saying that OS and Evolution and ASP and these deals, they were all going to get together, and whoever was making cases there in China, they were going to do a big run of different motors, and some stuff was coming back. So maybe this was part of it then, that the guy knew what he was talking about. I was talking to the guy from Horizon, and he said that some of the motors were going to be back, the Evolution motors, and I didn't realize all the cases were made in the same factory there in Japan.
I don't think the Evos are coming back. I think those are done. And right now the ASP, a lot of guys in Speed Limit Combat got hooked on the ASP 21 because it was such a cheap motor from Hobby King. They were like $45 or something, and tons of guys bought them. And now they're breaking cranks or they're burning up pistons and liners. And Hobby King has zero stock, like none. And you cannot get parts for those motors. You can't get anything for an SP motor right now because Hobby King stopped carrying them, and they're not in current production. So there's a whole group of guys out there running ASPs that can't get anything for them.
Well, that's what they were saying there at Horizon. I don't know. That was back in April. That by the end of the year, they were going to try to get a run of all these cases and stuff, because ASP and the Evolution motor is made in the same factory. They were assembled and everything in the same factory. But it was to do with, there had to be so many thousand of these cases made for the company to make a run.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So they were trying to get OS and everybody to do it. So I don't know.
Of those three companies, Evolution, ASP, and OS, the only one I know that's making a new production motor is OS right now. The OS 25-2, the LA 25-2. You can go on the internet and buy that motor, but you cannot buy a brand new production Evo or ASP right now.
Yeah, I know it. They said they were all coming, but I don't know. I haven't seen them yet.
I don't give a shit about Evos or ASPs. Man, if they keep making LA motors, that'd be great, you know? Because we run the hell out of those things in Speed Limit Combat. the 25s especially. We run some 40s too, but the 25s. But it's a moot point because I bought enough parts from RC Japan for our 25s that Sam will be able to run LA 25s with his kids. You know,
Yeah.
I bought enough parts to keep 10 motors running for the next 30 years. You know, and they'll always be out there anyway. You can always find that stuff on eBay. You know,
Yeah.
in 15 years, it might cost you $50 for a piston and liner, but you'll still be able to find one. Somebody's going to have one. You know, it's the same as all these ignition engines from the 30s, man. You can still find a part out there if you need it. You're just going to have to be willing to pay for it.
Yep. Hey, Tryon, have you checked out them badass motors yet?
What are you talking about?
That new brand, Badass.
No.
But they look pretty. They got I don't know. I was gonna have you look at them. They have the curved magnets and stuff like that on the motors.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. They talk about the wire and all this kind of stuff, but Innovative 8, I guess they lost Scorpion, and they came out with this motor now.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be so much more power for the same size and stuff like that. But yeah, if you get a chance, check that out and see what.
Sure. Yeah. 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 I'll try to do that. I just I'm kind of changing the subject a little bit. We had issues with trying to paint stuff in a mold, so we can pull the parts out, paint it, and ready to go, right? So we don't do any painting after that. So what we used to do, we used like dope rattle can stuff, some kind of a one part paint. So what I think we did wrong is like we used the wrong paint, and that paint tends to be kind of sticky and kind of clings to the surface of the mold, especially if you use the semi-permanents. So I think we're gonna test the new stuff pretty soon. We might go back to what we used to do before that, using like different release and painting the mold directly.
So you put some kind of release agent on the mold and then put the paint on top of the release agent.
Yes.
And then put the carbon resin, the resonance, everything in. Okay.
Yep.
Or weren't you using a water base, or were you going to go to a water base or something like that?
I don't think that's gonna work. Might have worked. The water base might have worked for the application, but it's not durable. I don't know how good is water base in time. How long is it gonna last, or I don't know. So I'm not sure if I trust it a whole lot. That's my issue with that. But since the release agent is made for epoxy material, and when we made the first parts and stuff like that, we had no issues with that because I went straight with epoxy in a mold and just make the part. I didn't care for anything else. But now that so, and then when I start to paint them, they start to get sticky, and I didn't realize there was a paint actually the issue. So,
Well, that one mold that actually etched into the mold.
Yep.
Yeah. So what are you going to use? Class coat then? Epoxy paint?
Yeah, some 2-part epoxy. So I think we're gonna go to using a clear coat, just the clear of the paint, and buy some powder pigments. And with the powder, you can mix it up. You can modify to a different color if you like that. Just mix them, 2 of them. You want whatever color you want to have, and if you don't really like the color exactly to what you envision or whatever.
Yeah, just make sure that if you get a color you like, mix a lot, and if it works, on a test thing, then mix up a lot of it, because unless you have the same pigment, it's ground at the same time and stuff, you're going to be tinting the hell out of it to try to match the same color.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Okay.
that's when I worked at that paint factory. That's what you'd be surprised that you get one batch of powder in,
Mm-hmm.
and you put in 2 pounds, say for 100 gallons or whatever, you get this color. Next time you put in the same weight, and it's way off. It could be a lot stronger. It could be a lot weaker, a different color.
Yeah, I see.
Then you're adding, you know, yellows. If you know a red isn't as yellow or isn't as blue, and you're trying to match all that stuff up. It's a real pain in the ass. But if you come up with a color,
you know, but
I want to do 2 or 3 planes or a touch up, then have some in reserve.
Yeah, well, that's an option, you know. So yeah, but it doesn't take much, you know. We cannot do what you are saying, because if we do what you are saying, it means that you know, the 2-part paint is going to get hard. So you can mix it up and leave it like that. With
don't mix it with the hardener, and mix it first in the base,
mm-hmm.
and then just add your hardener. And the base should stay for as long as you like.
Yeah. I'm not
Tom
sure.
Ramel asks on YouTube if gel coat would work. You know what gel coat
Too
is?
heavy.
Oh, really?
It's very heavy. It would work, but it's very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that a 2-part system? Gel coat? I don't even know what that is.
Yes, but it's very thick and very heavy.
Yeah.
It's like putting a thin layer of plastic on the outside of the plane.
Mm.
Yeah. So
the other thing is, you might try Class Coat. That's an epoxy 2-part.
Yeah, some people use that, from what I know.
And
but
you know, that's pretty the color is stable over different batches and stuff. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like I'm looking at, you know, it's not like we're gonna, if we make a plane, it's usually pretty durable. I don't see why would I have to paint it after that. Then the only thing for which the paint would be messed up is if we smash the shit out of it. So
or scratch it.
Yeah. At which point we can make another wing or something like that. So if the paint is just, you know, and if we have powder, we and we put in a clear coat, then we can always, you know, just keep the powder on the side and mix some more next time. Where it's the same powder, because it doesn't take much. I mean, if you for a whole plane, it's just a tiny bit, a very, very small batch, right? So you have some of the same powder left over, so you can put that powder on the side. But yeah, but I was so glad that I think we figured it out with that one.
Yeah, just you know, I don't know. Usually, when you buy the powder like that, you have to go through a dispersing mill and disperse it into the base of the whatever you're using.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we put it on a mixer
mm-hmm.
and then mixed it up,
mm-hmm.
but until it went through a dispersing mill, the color wouldn't generate.
What is a dispersing mill?
It has little BBs in it, and it just pounds the crap out of the pigment.
Mm-hmm.
So it disperses the color. But yeah, you can put a whole bunch of it in there, and it just doesn't mix well.
Oh, okay, so you have to make sure you mix it well, right?
Yeah, and it takes, they call them sand mills, or is usually what they, you know, what we did, pour in the base, and then it'll actually grind that pigment finer and disperse it in the, because on a mixer, you can disperse with a cowl blade, but it has to be really thick, and you got to put a lot of horsepower to it to get the heat up and get it to grind. We usually call it a grind.
Mhm.
And then a lot of times it may have to go through the sand mill 2 or 3 times to actually get the pigment fine enough to disperse. We had a drawdown bar so we could draw down to see how fine we had the pigment in that solution. It's a big process. That's why I was saying with Class Coat, they do that there at their factory.
Mhm.
So the pigment's already displaced, but you can try to do it yourself.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can find pigment that's ground fine enough. It'd be like, I don't know, dust. It's ground. When you get it, it's real heavy. It's sand.
Mhm.
And then you grind it to like, it's basically a dust inside there, but they put the
Mhm.
resin with it to keep it from flying away.
Okay.
Because they grind it so, because raw pigment doesn't make much color.
Mhm.
And it's really rough and stuff like that because basically all pigments are nothing but sand.
All right. In that case, we might have to test it out.
Yeah, I'd get a little bit and see how it goes. Because, everybody hears of titanium dioxide. That's white sand from Australia. They mine that sand. It comes in and then you grind the crap out of it. You're grinding sand, basically. You're busting the pieces down.
Okay.
That's what they use for white, is it not?
Yeah. Yeah, like PVC pipe, the white PVC.
Yeah.
That just has titanium dioxide in it, which is a pigment, which is sand, and it's like blues and reds are so expensive because they're really not found in nature all that much. They got to refine them and everything else, and I don't know if they have any synthetic pigments now, where they actually make it in the lab that would be fine enough to do. But yeah, the big thing is that if you got a 1 mil paint on, you put a mil of paint on, the particles have to be smaller than a mil, or it'll be all bumpy.
Yeah, I
So
see
what
that.
else we got, people?
So yeah, we want to do some small changes on a layout. In particular, on the leading edge, maybe we're gonna add. I think we're gonna add a little bit of carbon fiber toe in there instead of just fill it in with a joining agent. So might have a nicer, tighter, much stronger joint. Some other small refinements. We're thinking about changing the pins that attach the wing into stainless steel. So we have dissimilar materials in there because we have aluminum over aluminum over aluminum. They tend to go out and stuff like that. We never had any issues with that yet. But refinements. We were thinking about a new nose shape, so we make it easier to mold.
So you working on this project with somebody in Illinois? Isn't that where you went when you were working on molding a plane last time?
Yeah, with Mark McKinney.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can work on model airplanes, and then you can turn around and work on jets or turboprops and all that kind of stuff. All in the same shop.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about the future prospects. Anyways.
So has he got the new molds for the wing yet?
No, I'm just actually tomorrow I'm gonna start them.
Oh, okay. But yeah, let me know when you send them to him, and I'll go there and spend a day or two and help him finish them out, polish them, and
what we are doing, we are just gonna do the outboard wing and have a new elevator wing mold as well.
Right. Yeah, I know you're saying that, but I know it's a lot of work on. I mean, just putting the wax in and polishing it gets your arms tired and stuff. So that's why I figure if I go there and help them, we can take turns and have a pair of old arms instead of just or a couple pair of old arms, I guess.
Yeah, we if we do the painting in a mold, we are no longer going to use the wax and PVA, and we're going to use something else that's going to be in a mold. The stuff I was talking about, the semi-permanent release, and that's something that you can make 2, 3, 4 parts, and you don't have to PVA the wing or wax or do any of the stuff. You just the wax and PVA is gone. It's no longer going to be there. So, and the idea is just to take the stencils, which are going to be with vinyl cut, and just drop them in and paint one color, and take it out and wait for the color to dry out, and then you shoot the second color, and then remove the stencils. Now you have the stripes and pretty much everything inside the mold. And after that, maybe some fading out, some edges and stuff like that, little details, and you're ready to start to put the material inside.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you get looking for pigments and stuff, see if you can find tint base or tint colors, and that'll be already dispersed in that carrier of whatever, if it's for an epoxy or polyester or whatever, and then that'll mix in a lot better. And it'll be just so many drops of the tinting material, and you can go from there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure thing. Yeah.
But grinding pigment, I think you're gonna,
I don't think you have to grind the pigment that they sell, because it looks powder. It looks very fine and ready to use. But I don't know how. I mean, you probably know more than I do.
You might be able to buy it that way, but I've never seen it. I mean, we had 2 floors of grind department. That's all we did was grind pigment that came in.
Okay.
To get it to, and then it was just put with whatever base.
Was that recent or just a while back?
That was about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But it'd been done the same way for 100 years.
Okay.
Some of the ball mills we had that them damn things are 80 years old.
Okay.
And that's how they did, back when they used shellac. I mean, when the company first started, it was all shellac-based stuff, and
I'd forgotten that was about that word entirely. Shellac.
Oh yeah,
lacquer. I don't know.
And
what shellac was.
What's really crazy is in a ball mill, these rocks that go in there, they're made by Coors Brewing. They come right from the Coors a factory. They make them. So I don't know what in the beer business what they grind, but yeah, that's where we get big pallets of rocks in from Coors. They're all a certain size, but
dudes, I think we're going to wrap it up for tonight.
All righty.
Okay. So, yeah, we're a little bit early, but time for me to go. Y'all welcome to stay and chat all you want, but I'm gonna go ahead and close out the YouTube feed. But thank y'all for joining. This was probably the most populated show we've had with video visitors in a while. It's been slim crowds lately, but there's been a lot of contests and stuff like that going on. I appreciate y'all coming in and joining us, and all YouTubers out there, we thank y'all for coming, and everybody take care. We'll see y'all on Monday. Hope you have a good weekend. So fair winds, tight lines, and we'll see y'all later. And,
all right, sounds good.
Okay, so we are signing off the YouTube stream. 3, 2, 1.